Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 15th of March. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast. However you're listening to us, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that fun stuff. That's good for the algorithm. I don't understand the algorithm, but I know it's good for me. Helps me make the monies, so I appreciate that. Love you long time. Everything ZASLOW Show 2.0, of course, is presented by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you've been in an accident, doesn't matter what kind, car accident, boat, motorcycle, slip and fall, make sure you call Anidjar. First, you call 911 because you want to make sure everyone is safe. Then you call Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Get an attorney on the phone, a live attorney immediately at 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. Got a fun little show planned today. The NCAA tournament technically started last night, first four. I watched a little bit. I know Pitt held on at the very end, so Pitt is officially in as an 11 seed. You got a couple more games tonight, another 16 seed matchup, another 11 seed matchup. So if you're into that, you got that going on tonight. The Heat are back in action this evening. They're hosting Memphis. No Ja Morant. Everybody knows he is in a counseling program here in Florida. I don't really know what that means, but no Ja Morant, obviously, for the Memphis Grizzlies tonight in another game that the Heat have to win. We'll get you an update on what's going on with the standings there in a moment. The Panthers are back in action tomorrow night. NFL free agency in full swing. Everybody knows that. And today, deals can become official. I think it's at 1 p.m. today. So you may be listening in the future right now, and you know about some deals that are already official. I don't know about it yet because I'm in the past. You're in the future. You have information that I don't have yet. Nonetheless, today is the first day that the NFL league year officially begins. The Dolphins did make a couple moves. They re-signed both Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. I've been saying that for a couple days on this show. You know, my son is like, oh, they should trade for Derrick Henry, or, oh, they should sign Miles Sanders. Yeah, those would be amazing, but you don't need all-pro players at every position. Clearly, they've made the defense a priority as far as the all-pro players. I think that's the right move because the Dolphins defense stunk to high hell last year. And the running game, as long as the offensive line is doing their job, we saw Mostert and Jeff Wilson more than capable as your top two backs. You get both of them for a very good number. I've been telling you that for a couple days now. I love that move. Bring both those guys back. Let's run it back with that running game. You're going to be just fine. So, and here's also the thing, you know. All right, if the idea that the Dolphins should go out and get Derrick Henry, yeah, that'd be amazing. Right now, you'll have to give up a lot for him. But here's the thing where I take a step back and I think about it for a moment. All right, if you're going to get Derrick Henry, you're a running team. Like, you're a running team if you have Derrick Henry, like the Tennessee Titans have been. Not that that's a bad thing, but the Dolphins have invested all of this money and skill in the passing game, in the wide receivers, the quarterback who has this precision passing game. So, yes, while getting a guy like Derrick Henry, on paper, it sounds amazing. But don't you want to put the ball in the hands of your most dynamic playmakers? Hill, Waddle, to a lesser extent, Tua, but getting those guys the ball. Don't you want to put the ball in the hands of Tua as often as possible to get it to Hill, to get it to Waddle as many times as you possibly can throughout the game? And if you're going to be a running team, if you're going to get Derrick Henry, you're now a running team. Isn't that counterproductive to what the team does really well? Like, I remember there were games last year where, we'd get on Mike McDaniel about abandoning the running game. The running game's not going well, so it's like, all right. And he made a similar type of correlation where we could continue running the ball and continue to get stuffed and continue struggling there, or we can do the thing that we're really good at, which is pass the ball and get the ball to Tyreek Hill and get the ball to Jalen Waddle, get the ball to our playmakers. So which should we do? Should we keep running the ball and struggling running it, or should we just do the thing that we're really, really good at? And while Derrick Henry, a guy like Derrick Henry would be great. I mean, I don't need to sell you on Derrick Henry, but that also means you're taking the ball out of Tua's hands. It means you're taking the ball out of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle's hands. It means you're doing less of the thing that made you really great on offense last year. So, would it be cool to get a guy like Derrick Henry? Yes, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I'm sure that's a polarizing thing to say. There's probably a lot of people who disagree with that sentiment, but I like what the Dolphins did yesterday, Mostert and Wilson. All right, so the Canes, come on, tournament, baby. The madness begins tomorrow. What a way to experience the first day of the tournament tomorrow, right? You're watching the tournament and you're listening to ZASLOW Show 2.0. That's what you could do tomorrow. That's a big day tomorrow. But anyway, that's tomorrow. Canes are playing Friday night. Spiro Ditas is going to join us. NFL on CBS, called a bunch of Dolphin games this year. NBA on TNT. And of course, he's got the tournament on Friday. He's got the Canes game. He's got 4 games, I believe, on Friday, which is amazing. I can never understand that. You're watching the games, and let's say, you're watching the games all throughout the day, and it's the same announcers, right? It's, oh my God, do they go to the bathroom? Aren't these guys tired? I gotta ask Spiro about all that stuff. So we'll get Spiro Ditas on the show coming up in a little bit. That'll be fun. And we'll talk a little bit about the Canes with him. If you missed any of the shows this week, we talked a little bit about the tournament with our guy Boog Shambi on Monday. You can always go back in the archives, ZASLOW Show 2.0. You can go back and listen to past shows. They're not going anywhere. That helps me as well. So go back and listen to a past show if you haven't heard it yet. Boog joined us on Monday. We talked about the tournament. We talked a little bit about the Canes. How about yesterday? Shane Battier, 2-time NBA champion with the Miami Heat, NCAA champion 2001 with Duke. Shane's always real good to us. Great conversation with him yesterday about preparing for the tournament, about being in the tournament as a student athlete. So you want to go back and check that out. Also, you can watch on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ZASLOWShow. But, you know, it's most beneficial for me if you go back on the podcast and you listen there. Whatever you want, though, it's there for you. All right. And we'll talk a little bit about that, about the tournament, about the Canes with Spiro Ditas today. So before we get back to that good stuff, and we're obviously keeping an eye on Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. Those two things are totally in play today, especially the Aaron Rodgers stuff. But hey, how about today? Ted Lasso Day. That's right. Ted Lasso Season 3 is back. Apple TV. I brought it up the other day with Boog Shambi. If you're not watching Ted Lasso, I don't know what to tell you other than you're stupid. If you're not watching Ted Lasso, you're stupid. It's the most wonderful show. And like I told this to Boog the other day, within the first 5 minutes of the show, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this show. Because Ted Lasso's character, he's super positive. He's so upbeat. He's obviously corny. It's like, I don't know if I could take this. But by the end of the first episode, it's like, this is the most wonderful show. It makes me feel so good. It makes you feel good. That's why it's such a great show, right? By the end of every episode, the show has made you feel good. And when it first came out, 2 years ago in COVID, it was the perfect show for what us as a country, as a society, we're dealing with. Because it was making us feel good. Can't recommend Ted Lasso enough. If you haven't watched Ted Lasso yet at all, I'm jealous of you. Because I only have Season 3 now. You can go back and watch starting at Season 1. I'm jealous if you've never seen Ted Lasso. And if I have it right, I think it's one of those shows that comes out every week. I remember watching tonight with my wife. It's 30-minute episodes. I can bang it out real quick. I think it comes out every week. I don't think it's a binge show where... Now, obviously, you can binge it, but I don't think it's a binge show where all the episodes come out at once and you can just bang out a whole season. I think it's a weekly thing. And I got to tell you, while obviously we like being able to watch at our own pace, I like every now and then the show that's released on a weekly episodic basis. Where, and I know that's The Last of Us on HBO, right? It was an HBO show. Just ended this past week. I haven't watched The Last of Us. I don't know if I'm going to. I mean, everyone loves it. But The Last of Us was one of those shows, right? Where we're all watching it together. Not me, I'm watching it, but we're all watching it together, and it's an event every week. Everyone's watching it at the same time. You know, The Sopranos was like that. Game of Thrones was like that. Breaking Bad was like that. And I like that. I like the event feel to a weekly episodic show. So I think that's what Ted Lasso is. I think it's released weekly. So I don't mind that it's not all released at once. I dig it. So, like I said, I'm jealous of you if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, because you get to start from season 1, and I'm starting here from season 3. I have less episodes than you have. It's the most wonderful show. And like I said, if you're starting and you're like, I don't know about this, I felt that way the first 5 minutes. I didn't know if I was going to be able to handle Ted Lasso's personality. But by the end of the first episode, you can't believe how good the show makes you feel. That really is what it's about. It makes you feel so good, this show. All right, I've sold you on it enough. Either you're going to watch it or you're going to not at this point. All right, so is today Aaron Rodgers' day? Aaron Rodgers apparently... Now look, it'd be so amazing. I told you, I hope he goes to the Jets. But the best scenario is he retires. Where he decided, I'd rather retire than play for the Jets. Now, we know he's not going to retire because he will not share the first ballot Hall of Fame stage with Tom Brady. He's not... Because Brady will get all the glory. Rightfully so. No, Aaron Rodgers will play one game next year and then retire before he retires now and is on the same stage, the same class year, Hall of Fame class as Tom Brady. Not happening. So he's going to play. Apparently, he also gave the Jets a list of demands, a list of the players. They signed Allen Lazard yesterday to a 4-year deal, the Jets. I'm sure he's recommended Randall Cobb. Loves Randall Cobb. And I saw someone make this point on Twitter. I don't remember who it was, otherwise I would give them credit, but they're 1,000% right. So Aaron Rodgers, who complained every year about the Packers not giving him enough weapons, his list of demands to the New York Jets is to sign all the weapons that the Packers had. Okay. So today looks like it could be Aaron Rodgers' day. I hope so. And look at the quarterbacks that you'll have in the AFC East. Obviously, Tua, best. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, who I think is going to flop in New York. And then you got whoever the Patriots quarterbacks can be. I mean, they can't stick with Mac Jones, can they? They probably will stick with Mac Jones because they're going to be stubborn about it. But Mac Jones, far and away the worst quarterback in the division. I think he's the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. Far and away the worst starting quarterback in the division. But those are your potential AFC East power rankings. Number 1, Tua, best. 2, Josh Allen. 3, Aaron Rodgers. Because he's with the Jets, he's going to flop. And number 32 in the NFL, but 4th in the AFC East, Mac Jones. There you have it. So that's the order as far as what the AFC East quarterbacks are going to look like. But I hope Aaron Rodgers signs them. I do. I think it's fun. I told you the other day, I was saying, it's going to really put a damper in the Dolphins offseason and what they've done so far. If the Jets get Aaron Rodgers, I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel that way at all. So I hope that winds up happening. Before I get to the Heat and Panthers here, and then we're going to bring Spiro Ditas on board. Adam Schefter yesterday, I think it was on his podcast, gave the details of the contract that Lamar Jackson has been offered by the Baltimore Ravens. Now we know, teams are coming out, say that they're not interested. Is this collusion? I think it has extremely little to do with collusion. I think it's about teams know what he's asking for, and they're not interested. They're not getting involved in that mess, because I think Lamar Jackson is being wholly unreasonable. When has a quarterback of Lamar Jackson's caliber been allowed to get to free agency? When has there been a contract dispute involving a quarterback of Lamar Jackson's caliber? Also, these starting quarterbacks, these franchise quarterbacks, they always have had an agent. Lamar Jackson doesn't. The Baltimore Ravens are not a brand new franchise. It's not like they don't know how to operate a team. I hate the Ravens, but they're considered one of the well-run franchises in the NFL. The constant in this scenario is the Ravens. The variable that is doing things different is Lamar Jackson. So I'm sorry. I don't give Lamar Jackson the benefit of the doubt in this spot. I think he's being unreasonable. And then you get Schefter, who's given the contract demands, right? What, not contract demands? Well, we know the demands, or we think we know the demands. He wants $250 guaranteed. Or $250 and $1 guaranteed. So he wants more than Deshaun Watson, that phony baloney contract. And Schefter said it's $133 million guaranteed that the Ravens have offered. $175 million guaranteed if he suffers injury. So like an insurance policy, essentially. And that equals a total, potentially, $200 million guaranteed. If he gets hurt, $200 million guaranteed is what he's going to get. Now, and Lamar Jackson tweeted out yesterday, I don't know if it was in response to this report, but Lamar Jackson tweeted out yesterday, 3 years, $133 million guaranteed. And I need an agent? So he's trying to tell you there that, yeah, stop saying he needs an agent. This is what he was just offered. He doesn't have an agent. Okay. All right, that's fine. But here's the thing. So Schefter, and I don't think Schefter's pulling it out of his culo, $133 million guaranteed, which now Schefter and Lamar Jackson have both said, so we know that part's true. Schefter is saying it goes up to $175 if there's an injury. $200 million total. Imagine thinking owners are colluding against you when you're being guaranteed almost $200 million. Imagine making the case that there is collusion when you're being offered almost $200 million guaranteed. I'm sorry. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Like, all it does to me is confirm there's no collusion. You have a player here who's holding his ground. That's his right. He could do that. But you could also say he's being unreasonable because that money there it's less than Deshaun Watson's phony baloney contract. And again, you know how I feel about that. Just because one team is run poorly, the Cleveland Browns, why does the next team have to run poorly now as well? So it's less than the Watson deal, but far more guaranteed than the second best deal right now, which is exactly where he should be. So he's essentially at the top because I wouldn't include the Watson. It's just, it's a fake contract. Extenuating circumstances. He's being unreasonable, Lamar Jackson. It's really easy to see now. But my overriding takeaway is, imagine complaining that there is collusion against Lamar Jackson when he's been offered almost $200 million in guarantees. I'm sorry. Shut up about the collusion. Shut up. Shut up. So, before we get to the Canes tournament, I think you're going to enjoy our conversation with Spiro Ditas. Before we get to him, Heat back in action tonight. They have Memphis. Obviously, no John Morant. I gave some credit yesterday to Kyle Lowry. There was a story in the paper today about Kyle Lowry in the minutes. Spoelstra's trying to keep the minutes down, trying to get him ready for the playoffs. 36 minutes he played on Saturday night as he returned to Orlando, which is crazy. And then 19 minutes, they were able to narrow it down in the win the other night against Utah. So, and I've been saying, play 15 minutes off the bench. So somewhere around that 15 to 20 minute range is probably what you're going to get, probably closer to the 20 minute range. I thought Lowry was very good in the fourth quarter the other day. And that's exactly what, now look, I don't like Kyle Lowry. I've never disliked a player more than Kyle Lowry on the Heat. But that doesn't mean when he's on the floor, I want him to do poorly. It's not like I'm sitting here, he's on the floor, and I want the shots to miss so I can come here the next day and tell you, you see, he sucks. Like, I don't want to cut up my nose to spite my face. My nose is very big. I don't want to cut off my nose to spite my face. I want the team to do well. I don't like Kyle Lowry, but if he plays well, the team's going to play well. Your boy's going to go to sleep happy. So I'm not rooting against him. But I would say that that's the way to use him. You keep the minutes short. You play him. I would play him in the fourth quarter. First half of the fourth quarter, just like they did last game when Jimmy sits. Jimmy normally sits until about the 7-minute mark in the fourth quarter. Lowry should be in the game at that point. A settling force in the offense. Hopefully, he could set up other guys to make plays. I would have Lowry in the game first half of the fourth quarter. Once Jimmy checks back in, boom, you're done. It could be Gabe Vincent who comes back in, or maybe you go with a little bit of a bigger lineup and you have Hero or even Oladipo handling the ball, though Oladipo we know is very, very hit or miss. But your closing lineup for me, we're still talking about Hero, Butler, Bam, Martin, and whoever you want that fifth guy to be. Are you feeling Vincent? Are you feeling Oladipo? Do you want that extra? I mean, Strus was out of the rotation the other day, which is probably a good thing. I've been telling you about Max Strus. Not a good year. 2 of his 3 full years with the Heat. Not good three-point shooting. Like last season may have been the mirage, unfortunately. And he fell out of the rotation, at least for the time being. So those are your 4, and you could pick the third guy based on, so like I said, Hero, Butler, Bam, Martin, and the fifth guy could either be Lowry, I don't approve, Vincent, Oladipo. You got some options there. You got some options. All right. Finally here, the Panthers, before we get to, you know what? Actually, before we get to Spiro, let me tell you about Broward Meat and Fish. All right, I've been telling you about Broward Meat and Fish for a couple weeks now. They're our newest sponsor. Really excited, by the way. Got a couple new sponsors joining on board end of this week, beginning of next week. If you want to get involved with the show, JonathanZaslow@gmail.com. You go to my Twitter account, @ZASLOWShow. You can see my email, the business email is right there in the Twitter bio. If you're a business, you're looking to do some advertising, very affordable. If it's good for you, if it's good for me, we see if we could work something out. So if you're interested in that, you hit me up and we'll see what's up. Our newest sponsor, Broward Meat and Fish. Let me tell you about them. If you love good food, stop whatever you're doing right now, okay? We all want the best quality food when we're prepping for our next meal. Broward Meat and Fish, full supermarket. You hear the name, Broward Meat and Fish, you think you're walking into like a butcher shop and you got the meats and you got the fish. The best and widest selection of meat and fish I have ever seen in my life at Broward Meat and Fish. But on top of it, it's a full supermarket. You're going to do your full shop there. Frozen foods, freshly prepared hot foods, all the groceries you normally pick up, deli meats, cheeses, wines. That's right. At Broward Meat and Fish, you're getting everything you're looking for. And you got a full-service meat and seafood counter. The butchers, the fishmongers, they're going to prepare your selection exactly the way that you want it. You're going to get the perfect cut, the freshest flavor and quality. Here's what I also love about Broward Meat and Fish. You guys are going to feel me on this, all right? Broward Meat and Fish has been specializing in serving the Caribbean and Latin community here in South Florida for almost 30 years, so you know they care. We're talking products that remind all of us where we come from. The shelves are stocked with international brands, Jamaica, Haiti, Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, Peru. You're getting the flavor that you love. It's going to make you feel like you're right back at home at Broward Meat and Fish. BrowardMeatandFish.com. Newest location, grand opening a couple weeks ago, was in Margate. Find the location nearest to you, BrowardMeatandFish.com. And don't forget, get your Johnny Cuba there is right, including the new picante sauce using the finest Jamaican peppers. I love it so much. I got several in my closet right now. I love that hot sauce. Oh my God, I love it so much. All right, last night was a really good night for the Panthers. So the Panthers are not back in action until tomorrow against Montreal. This long layoff from, was it Sunday? Saturday or Sunday, their last game. This long layoff for the Panthers, here's what it's done. Last game for the Panthers, by the way, was the 11th. So that was Saturday. This long layoff from Saturday to Thursday has allowed those other teams, like Pittsburgh, to catch up in the games played, in the games in hand. So by the time the Panthers are back in action tomorrow, all things are going to be even. And then you could have a better idea how many points back the Panthers are of those wild card spots. Last night, though, was a really good night for the Panthers. You look at the teams that were fighting, it's 7 teams essentially fighting for 2 playoff spots. Last night, you had the Capitals lost, that's big. The Red Wings lost, that's big. The Senators lost, that's big. And then the 2 teams that have the wild card spots right now, the Islanders lost last night and the Penguins lost last night. So everyone the Panthers needed to lose last night lost. And they were not 3-point games either. No overtime games. So here's where we stand right now. Panthers are the first team out at 73 points. The 2 wildcard teams right now. Pittsburgh has 78. New York Islanders have 76. Panthers have 73. They're the first team out. But here's the thing. The Panthers and Penguins have now played the same amount of games. It was not too long ago where the Penguins had like 5 games in hand. They played the same amount of games right now. So moving forward, the Panthers are 5 points back of Pittsburgh. Both teams have 15 games left. That's going to be hard to make up those 5 points. But at least we know they both have 15 games left. The Panthers are 5 back. The place that's really advantageous for the Panthers is that second wildcard spot. The Islanders currently hold it. They're 3 points ahead of the Panthers. The Panthers have 2 games in hand on the Islanders. That's 4 points right there available to the Panthers that the Islanders don't have. That second wildcard spot, for the first time now, it feels like this season, that second wildcard spot now feels like the Panthers can grab it. So here's what we got tonight. The Islanders are playing this evening. Now they're at the Ducks. Ducks are one of the worst teams in the league, but it's the second night of a back-to-back for the Islanders. Long road trip for them. Who knows? If the Islanders lose tonight, the Panthers will be 3 back when they're back in action tomorrow with 3 games in hand on the Islanders. This is a huge game tonight that the Panther fan wants to keep an eye on. So it's a late game. It's a 10 o'clock game. But Islanders at Anaheim, very big game for the Panthers who are back in action tomorrow against Montreal. So you want to keep an eye on that? And then we could have some excitement at FLA Live Arena tomorrow.